Taking inspiration from Tarkov, the Helldivers 2 developers Arrowhead have decided to stare into the sun. Yeah, no, really. Like, they've done something incredibly stupid. This could be the end of Helldivers because this is honestly one of the worst decisions I've seen this week. I would say of the month, I would say of the year, but again, Tarkov exists, so hats off to them for being the stupidest kid on the short bus. Yeah, this is bad, though. This is bad. And I sort of love it because it's that bad. But yeah, Helldivers 2 is having a moment right now, and it is currently one of the most negatively reviewed games. Actually, it is probably the most negatively reviewed game on Steam today, this week, and possibly even this year, because it's gotten over 10,000 negative reviews. If you go to Helldivers 2 on the Steam page, you will see what I'm talking about. It's not looking good for them. Just to push the point home right now, Helldivers 2 was literally considered to be a positive game on Steam, and right now it says it has mixed reviews. It's really bad. It's really bad. So here's what's going on, and this is going to take a little bit to explain because people, like, right when you hear the news, you don't realize how bad it is, and it sounds bad. So here's what it is. Helldivers 2 now is requiring all people playing the game to have a PSN account. Now, when I first read this, I thought, what's the big deal? They're probably playing on PlayStation already. It's not out for Xbox. And then I realized that's PC players too. So whether you're playing on the PlayStation or the PC, if you are playing Helldivers 2, you need to have your game linked to a PlayStation account. This means if you're a PC player who has never picked up or touched a PlayStation, you now need to create a PlayStation account, log into it, and link it to your Helldivers 2 account. Then you can go back to playing the game as normal. So people are thinking, hey, how bad is it? You put in an email, you give them a password, they're going to leak it to every hacker next door, but who really cares? If North Korea knows your password, they're not going to be doing much with it, right? You can just use a random password. Just take your normal password and, increase it a little bit. Instead of being just standard strong 3-inch, you can make it 6. I don't know. But, it doesn't seem like a big deal, especially if you're in the U.S., because essentially that's what you can do. You make a throwaway account, give them a generic email, assume it's going to be leaked, and you're good to go. Unfortunately, that's only for 1/3 of the world, and there are even caveats there. But 2/3 of the countries that are in existence actually can't even sign up for a PlayStation Network account, which is a lot more than the amount of countries that aren't supported on Steam. In fact, I believe Steam supports everybody because they're very democratic. I don't think Sony is. So now I know what you're thinking. If you're supporting Arrowhead, if you're supporting Helldivers 2, and that's a little bit different than supporting Sony. We're going to get into that again. But yeah, if you're supporting all these things, you're like, hey, Serial, just lie about your country. You lie about your age every time you go to the hub, right? You tell them you're 18 instead of 69. But no, it gets worse than that, okay? So here's the thing. If you lie about the country that you're in, technically Sony can just ban your account, and they have. Apparently it seems like they have done that in the past. So what's happening now is you pretty much, you bought the game, you're playing the game, and now you've got to link a PlayStation account to it. You choose to fake your country. Sony's going to use that to pump up their numbers, which is really great for stock prices. It makes it look like PlayStation's doing a lot better than it probably is. So yeah, it's great for fooling investors. Some might call it fraud. I wouldn't call it that, though, because it's not. You're actually creating that PlayStation account. But yeah, some people are going to say, hey, what's the big deal? You fake your country. They're probably not going to ban you. They like to pump the numbers. It's not like any sort of big website has ever gone on some sort of purge to get rid of fake accounts and accounts with fake information. They would do that. That's happened before. And in fact, some people are reporting that Sony has actually done this in the past, banned people for using the incorrect country. This would actually be very convenient for them to do if Helldivers 2 starts to lose support. Maybe it's not pulling in enough money. Maybe they want to get rid of some servers. You could get rid of some servers, get rid of some players, and bing, bang, boom, you're good to go. Maybe someone hasn't bought DLC or paid for some skins in a while. You want to cut them loose, those freeloaders. You can do that because they create an account in a fake, not in a fake country, but they fake the country that they were in. In addition to this, if you live in certain countries like the UK and Ireland, no, you can't just sign up for an email and a password and be good to go. No, Kim Jong-un needs a little bit more information on you. And what's happening here is you gotta identify yourself. Not like your sexuality or anything like that, because that would be weird, but they're actually taking your state ID because that's still weird. They want like a photo of your passport or your license or something like that to verify you are who you are. Make sure you're not lying about your age because, I don't know, who knows, right? But yeah, this system exists. It's a trial period for the system, apparently in the UK and Ireland. But do you really think this isn't going to come to other countries? Because it is. It is likely coming to other countries. They're not just going to stop at the UK. They're not just going to stop at Ireland. They're going to keep going. So now what's going to happen is if you sign up for your PlayStation Network account thinking it's no big deal, assuming you're in 1/3 of the world that does have the ability to sign up for a PlayStation account, at some point there's a possibility that you're going to be required to identify yourself using an ID or something like that, which gives Sony a little bit more information, which means if they ever need a little bit of money, they might be able to sell that information. Now, I don't know about their terms of service or anything like that. It's not like they're likely to change it, but they did this after all. And yeah, originally Helldivers 2 on Steam, it did say that it requires a third-party account. I think basically they did say that it requires a Sony account. However, this is where things get sneaky. This is where things get really like, ugh. This is that moment when you get onto an empty subway car in the middle of rush hour, doors close, you take a sniff and realize, holy shit, you're in trouble. So if anyone's ever experienced that, by the way, it's scary. You got to make it one stop, and if that train gets stuck, you are F-U-C-K'd. But yeah, here's the thing, right? Now they're pumping up the numbers, everything's looking good, but the weird thing about this is they waived this requirement at first. So what happens is Helldivers 2 was this big top-selling game, and they didn't require PC players, or pretty much anyone that wasn't playing on a PlayStation, to have a Sony account. Everybody bought the game, they played, they had fun, the game got a lot of press, it did really good, and now they're trying to sneak a turd through the net. Because guess what happens? Right now, if you've played the game for any period of time, you are probably outside the refund window. You've probably played the game for a good number of hours. Maybe you bought the game more than 14 days ago. You can't request a refund anymore. It always told you that you needed a Sony account, even though really some people dug it, didn't really say it, I guess, in the terms of service, but you sort of accept those anytime you log into a game, and who reads those things anyways? I probably sold Microsoft 5 or 6 times at this point. But no, it's very, very shady here, because basically the game took off, everything was going good, they sort of kept it on the down low that you'd eventually need to sign up for the PlayStation Network, and then all of a sudden they pop it on us. And a lot of people, they paid for the game. It's a good bit of money, especially if you're if you're a kid, this might be the one game that you're buying that month and you're really enjoying it, you're having a good time. You're just going to go ahead and sign up for that account because you want to keep enjoying yourself, even though really it is sort of a shady move to just push this game out to people. People can't request a refund anymore because they played the game for so long. And now you're saying you got to set up an account, and people who they only buy 1 or 2 games a year or every couple months, they're just signing up for that account because they don't want to consider that money wasted, and they're not done with the game. It pumps up Sony's numbers, gives them a bit more data to leak, looks good for investors, and honestly, it shafts the players hard. Not in a way that players can see, but in a way that they can't, because this is an unreasonable expectation. They're dropping something on us after buying the game, and they're saying, if you want to keep playing the game, you've got to do this. And this is the problem with live service games. Right now, what is to stop them from saying, hey, if you want to keep logging into these servers, you got to pay us $5 a month? What's from stopping them from just making all your weapons nerfed and requiring you to buy DLC? There's nothing. There's got to be trust between a game developer and a player. And that trust has been eroded greatly by this move, because they're requiring something to play the game that was not required when people purchased it. And they're not offering refunds. They're not saying, hey, you can get your money back if you want. They're not saying, like Cyberpunk, to their credit, when the game ran bad on consoles, they said everybody can get a refund. Even if you played through the whole game, people are still getting refunds on it. No, what they've done here is they're just saying, you don't get a refund. You either play the game and sign up for the account, or you don't play the game at all. Those are the terms, period. And this is where things erode, because right now players are rightfully upset because they're having something forced down their throat that they didn't want. I get that it's a little thing. I get that it's something that's free, but it is your data, and you should have the right to control where your data goes, as well as control your purchases. This is a purchase that was made. It's already been made. We're months in the making of this, and now all of a sudden these requirements are coming to light. And a lot of people that bought the game, they probably didn't even know those requirements. To be honest, I didn't know that. And people are saying, well, why didn't you do your research? I don't know. Why don't you do your research when you go out to eat? Do you ever go to a pizza shop, order a pizza, and then wonder why someone jizzed on it? No, you don't, because there's a standard there. There's also a standard for games. There should be a standard for games that these requirements can't be dropped on you. A game should not be able to decide to start charging you to play the game months after you bought it, just like they shouldn't be able to decide to just require you to sign up for a new account to play the game. If you bought the game and you were not required to sign up for an account at the time of purchasing the game, you should not have to sign up for a new account at any time after. It's okay if they add a third service, right? Like if the game was single player and they say, hey, for co-op now you've got to sign, they're giving you something in addition to what you bought, right? And they're making you sign up for it. Now with early access, it can get a little shady, but I think that's a gray area. The fact here, though, is you bought a game, and now if you want to use that game in the form of the game that you bought, you have to sign up for this account. And in addition to that, if you don't sign up for this account, your purchase is basically null and void. There's nothing you can do. You can't use the game anymore. That is the problem, right? And this is the problem with live service games. This is one of the things that people are always warning about, right? They're saying they can pull the wool out from under you at any time. You're just trusting that the game developer won't do it. And Helldivers 2 and Arrowhead just proved that they will. They're blaming Sony, but honestly, they just proved that they will. Because there's some pull there. They're like, Sony can force them to do this, but do you really think they didn't have a say in this? Do you really think that all the blame's on Sony? Because I don't. I think that developers do have a choice. They have a lot of things that they can say and a lot of push that they can do. And right now, Sony basically probably came to them and say, hey, we see a golden opportunity to pump up our numbers. And they took it. And you know what the thing is? It's going to work. It's going to work. This is not like, this video isn't going to change anyone's opinion. People are going to be watching this. They're probably going to be upset with me. If anyone watches this at all, I don't know. There's a couple hundred of you. I do appreciate it. Hats off to you. I like it. I love it. But the problem here isn't just about what they're requiring. It's the fact that they are changing the contract that was initially sort of agreed on between the buyer and the game developer. And there's nothing that stops them from doing this in the future. There's nothing that stops them from saying every weapon that you have right now doesn't work. They could introduce a whole new enemy tomorrow that isn't affected by bullets, and you've got to buy this special magical wand. And then tomorrow after that, maybe they require you to buy a dildo. Who knows? Like, they can do anything, right? Like, you've got to trust the game developers, and this erodes that trust. This is why that matters so much. This is why people are upset, and I think a lot of people aren't giving a voice to it, but people are upset because it voids this contract of trust that we have with Arrowhead. And even if they pull back now, even if they don't do something, it's still scummy because they tried to do something, they got called on it, and now they're going back on it. But they still tried to do it, and there's a really good chance that they're going to try to do it in the future. For me personally, I've lost a lot of faith in this game because of this. Because anytime a game does this, it shows you what they're willing to do. It shows you that you're not dealing with someone who really appreciates the community or anything like that. They appreciate the community as much as the community can appreciate them through monetary means. That's what we're dealing with right here. And yes, I get it's a company. They've got to make money. I want them to make money. But do you not think Helldivers 2 is making money hand over fist? This game is enormously profitable. So the fact that they're getting greedy right now shows you something. What's going to happen when this game isn't as profitable? What's going to happen in a year when half the people are playing this game, or maybe even a quarter? Maybe this review bomb keeps going, and maybe you've got 10 people playing the game in 10 years from now, or I don't know, in a couple years from now, maybe there's only a couple thousand people playing the game. Are they even going to bother keeping the servers up? Is there even going to be a story, or are you just going to be running endless missions on one server that lags to hell and back? We don't know, but I don't know. This changes the way I feel about the game because it changes my faith in the developer, and that's why people are mad about this. People are saying it's no big deal because it's just an email and a password, and it is. But the fact that they changed that contract shows that they could do it again, and yeah, I mean, that's why it's indefensible. That's why it's indefensible. And if I get worked up about this, of course I got worked up about this because this is one of the things I hate. The money isn't a big deal to me, okay? This game costs, I don't even know how much this game costs. That's how little this matters. I think it was like a $40, $50 purchase, something like that, right? That's not that much. This YouTube channel isn't pulling in that much, by the way. I do these videos for fun, but that's not a ton of money to me. I spend more money when I go out to get a burger or something. I mean, burgers are fucking expensive nowadays. It's crazy what inflation has done, but I spend more money when I go out to eat. So, it's not about the money. It's about the message that they're sending. And I think players need to send a message that's equally poignant back. And I think right now we're doing it. So all I'd say is keep it up, boys. The negative reviews, everything like that, they need to keep coming because as a whole community, gaming in general, we can't allow this to be the norm. Thank you for watching. Until next time. Keep spreading democracy, even if that means not playing Helldivers. Until next time, peace.